I want to talk about the day that our journey began. It was a Friday afternoon in September. Um, Troy was almost 3 years old and he was going to a home daycare out in Colorado. And he'd only been going there for a couple of weeks. And I came to pick him up that afternoon. And I'll never forget, her name was Amy, his caretaker. And she said, I want to sit down and talk to you about how Troy's been doing. I said, sure, not a problem. And she brought out a spiral notebook and she started talking about some of the things she observed with our son. And everything she observed was the same thing I'd observed. So it wasn't anything new to me. But what was new to me was after she finished sharing her observations, she said, I have seen this on 3 different occasions with 3 different children that I cared for, and all 3 of those children had autism. It floored me. I It's like my heart stopped. It changed my life forever. I had been with my son pretty much every day of his life, and like every other mom, I had all these. I thought my son was fine, and to hear these words and learn that my son was not fine devastated me. I didn't know what to do. I broke down and I cried hysterically. And words can't describe my state of mind from that day forward. Um, I was, it has completely changed my life. I did manage to gather myself and get home. And of course, the first thing I did was run to the computer. Um, didn't know much about autism. Only I'm a kid of the 80s, had seen the movie Rain Man, and I'm a teacher. And a couple of years ago, before Troy was even born, I had a seventh grader in my class who had autism, and I had a cousin who had a stepson who had autism. That had been my only experience with autism. Didn't know nothing about it. Um, so I didn't know what that meant. I did know from what I'd seen, something wasn't right with all 3 of those people, including the character in the movie. And I didn't know if my son was crazy, if he was retarded. I didn't know what was wrong with him. I was devastated. I went home that night and tried to find out what is this autism thing. And I do remember reading that it is not mental retardation. He's not crazy. And that helped. And it did say one other thing that really helped a lot. And I would probably say it was the most important thing I read that night. I remember reading it would not affect his cognitive abilities. So I was like, wow, okay. So he still will be able to learn. He still has cognitive functions. It's not going to affect that. So where do I go from here?